Hello, everybody. It is me. I am here. Sorry that I'm a bit late today. A little slow today because I have been trying to exercise more this week and my legs hate me. My legs do hate me, so I'm getting around a little slower than usual. Pie is here first. You can't be late if you're first. I feel like those two positions are mutually exclusive. I was late today though, so there we go. Pie's here, Blur's here with an 80 stream streak. Have I streamed that many streams? My goodness. Blur, thank you so much for hanging out so often. Taryn's here. Taryn, how's it going? How you doing? Pie wants me to be the octopus. You want the voice too, Pie? Or do you just want the hat? You get a voice with this one, Pie. So do you want octopus voice? Do you want a FEMA voice? I think we can do the voice today. I think we can do the voice.
Gotta find it. Gotta find that wibbly wobbly lovely voice that comes with this redeem. It's not quite Jakella. It's a little bit more whimsical. Here we are. You didn't actually miss me last week, Taryn. I was AFK last week because I was not feeling well. Unless you mean missed me as in, like, absent missed me, in which case, that's so sweet. Did I tell you? I did a project to figure out how long... Oh, a projection. I read that as, I did a project to figure out how long my project would take. Delazar, hello. Aw, Taryn, I missed you too. I missed all you guys. It sucks being on the couch, but sometimes you gotta do it. You gotta sit on the couch and watch Gilmore Girls until you feel like a human being again. Did I tell you I did a projection to figure out how long before my project is done? You did not? How long before your project is done? I don't sound at all. I'm not in VC. What? Huh? Oh. Being first doesn't mean you can be late, Pie. That's what Taryn was saying. I can't believe I've watched 80 streams. I can't believe I've done 80 streams. I mean, I know I've been streaming since, like, I don't know, was it 2021 or 2022? But really, it just feels like I've only streamed 4 times. I'm so incompetent, you guys, but thank you for coming. I'm making ideas for the campaign I run. I'm making a Lamia Archer, a Tiger Leopard hybrid with fear and light manipulation. Damn! Looking at mid-October! Taryn, that's amazing! And so, at mid-October, does that mean it's ready for betas, or does that mean it's ready to go live for the whole world? What stage of this project are we at? It sounds like you're trying to become the next narrator for a bootleg sequel to the Smurfs that happens to feature the Sesame Street gang. This is the voice of my octopus character, Starborn Striker. I just need to text Ghost here. Wow, I'm really failing at typing, you guys. What was I saying? Text Ghost Pie says hi. Okay. I should really make you redeem for this. Also, Pie says hi. There you go. Done! I'm making a list. I didn't see the JK. I've already done it. The text is sent. The text is sent, Pie! It's done! It can't be undone. There's no unsend button. I'm compiling a list of things that we need from the store for Ghost Pepper tonight. Wow, it's too early in the morning for this voice, man. Alright, so... Yes, this is the voice of Starborn Striker. That's why I sound this way. It comes with the hat. Beta reading! Hell yeah! Do you have your betas lined up, Taryn? I guess you have plenty of time if it's in October. Sardonisms is here. Sardonisms, hello. Hello from an octopus. I was watching for Megan to go live and I still can't beat some of these people. Listen, I was late today, so it was hard to catch me. Got to get the chapter I'm working on drafted and edited this week so I can stay on schedule. Taryn, I believe in you. I also have a schedule. I somehow managed to keep it. I don't know how. Gumption, I guess. And coffee. And not a lot of sleep. It's not my fault you skipped my message. No, it's not. It's my fault. I saw your first message. I did the thing. I just reacted instinctually. I was holding my phone in my hand. It all happened so fast. Have a handful of betas lined up? Hell yeah. Talked with my therapist today, and we talked a lot about schedule and routine. Heck yeah. Is schedule and routine something you struggle with, Taryn? I need a schedule. I'm one of those people that I gotta have a schedule. I'm learning to be more spontaneous. I'm learning to have days that don't have a schedule. It's hard for me. Wait, that was Sardonisms that said that. You have the same color name and I'm getting you mixed up. Sardonisms. Is that something you struggle with? I think I called you Taryn. You're both pink right now. On the stream chat, you're pink and orange, but on my chat, you're pink and pink. And your names are almost the same length. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get you mixed up today for that reason. Brain, not handle. Something I eternally struggle with. I feel you. I don't know if Sardonisms has seen this because we haven't talked about it in a while. I have 2 day planners. One of them's right here. This is one of my day planners. The other one's digital. So I have 2 day planners that I use. One of them I call a bullet journal. But I have 2 planners that I use to keep myself on schedule. I write down like a shortened version of my daily block schedule on my digital planner, and then I write it out more long form in my physical one. Not many people pick the orange for chat. That's the reason I picked it. Fair. Not everybody picks a color. I think Sardonisms is a different color every day. Not everybody picks a dedicated color. So I should know better actually, because some people don't have a dedicated color. So I try to always look at the name and not the color. But I 100% saw 2 pink messages and I was like, that was all Taryn, and it wasn't. Yeah. So I don't remember exactly how you do it, but if you click on the little icon beside your name, I think. Let me go. I have to go actually open Twitch. So if you click on where it says chat identity, it'll have a little rotating badge. You can click on that, and then you can set your badges. And then if you scroll down, it has global name color, and you can pick a color, and you'll always be that color in chat forever. So I'm a dark blue. Every time I'm in anybody's chat, I'm dark blue. So you can set your color there, out of the colors that it has, and then every time you're in chat, you'll always be that color. You'll be purple forever now. Unless you change it. You can change it manually. I didn't know that either. People told me, so... Yes, I see you as purple now. Taryn is green. No, she's not. I made her. Listen, I'm glad that your avatar let you pick things about them. Domerin doesn't let me pick anything about his life. He just decides. I don't know that he's my avatar, but he's like the character that I use as my avatar the most often. Aside from just a picture of me. I give that man too much power. I really like one of the blue ones they have. Let me see what it looks like. Go for it. Yeah, I have the dark blue and it doesn't look good in light mode, but most people use dark mode. I don't have a favorite color. I think red is the closest. Blue for me! Shock! Shocking looking at my layout that you would discover that blue is my favorite color. What were we talking about, man? Yellow is Blur's favorite color. Plus Blur is yellow. Hell yeah. Well, I hope you had... we got way off track there, but I hope that you had a really productive conversation with your therapist, Sardonisms. I hope they were able to point you in the direction of something that helps you out. For me, I like to talk about what works for me. I know it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I set my schedule every Sunday. So every Sunday afternoon, I sit down, I look at what I've done last week, I look at what I need to do next week, I look at what's going on in my life, and I plan a schedule for the week. Parts of my schedule are really heavily set, like when I'm gonna edit and when I'm gonna write. Those things really inflexible. And then I have some more flexible stuff like this week I wanted to work on my Amazon ads, so I wrote down that I would do that on Monday and Tuesday, but I didn't get a chance to do it at all on Monday, so that's okay. I just shuffle it throughout the week. I actually got 2 days worth of work done on that yesterday on Tuesday, so I'm on schedule. I'm caught up to everything. But it's really hard. I learned how to schedule myself through trial and error and day planners. Writing it down makes me feel like I have to do it. So, there we go. My job until our next appointment is to focus on getting house stuff done for the hour and a half after work and dinner. Good luck! House stuff is hard. I do most of my house stuff on Sunday. Sunday is chore day. You might notice a pattern. I do all of the chores on Sunday. I set my schedule. I do the laundry. I clean the house. I plan my dinners for the week. I like to cook in the crock pot so that I have leftovers that I can just heat up later in the week because I don't like cooking. I like eating. I don't like cooking. That wraps at 7:30 and I told her if I went until 8, I was gonna think the day was over and be sad. That's fair. I try to be done with everything I need to be done with by 9 o'clock or 9:30 at the latest every day so that I can have some time to myself in the evening. I used to just work until like 11 o'clock at night. I had a lot of bad habits, you guys. A lot. I love to eat food. I don't like making it. Need to get back to consistent scheduling. It's harder when you have kids. I'm putting this out there. If you have a little one, it's harder. Because you gotta keep their routine, but in order to keep their routine, you often have to break your own routine. Because routine is even more important for kids than it is for adults. And so, what I understand about parenting, I don't have kids myself. What I understand about parenting, I love that this conversation, we always have the serious conversations in this voice. What I understand about parenting is that a lot of your schedule revolves around making sure your kids have a consistent schedule. My best tip is leave your shoes on and don't sit down. Set down your things and get started on chores right away. I think Sardinisms works from home, though. You have, like, actual good habits that work and shit, too. I had to learn those good habits. I just want you to know that I, too, am a bundle of bad habits and poor life choices just waiting to burst free of the thin shell of order that I've put on my life. And it's going to be very evident starting tomorrow how true that is, because Ghost Pepper's going away. And for those of you who aren't new to the stream, you know that that means... Sorry, this voice is killing me a little bit. You know that that means I'm not going to sleep on time, I'm not going to get up on time, I'm going to start forgetting to eat food, I'm going to be just wild. Everything's wild. When I don't have Ghost Pepper, I'm about to be unsupervised. When I don't have Ghost Pepper, I don't have order in my life. Here's the thing. I'm a night owl. I'm a creative. 3 a.m., that's my time, baby. That's when I'm alive. But if I'm not asleep at 3 a.m., I'm not awake at a decent time either. I get up at, like, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then, if I'm doing all my work, I'd just be working straight through dinner time. I'd never see my husband. My husband's a teacher. He's got a regimented schedule. He's got to be awake at a certain time. He's got to be asleep at a certain time. If I just let my natural instincts happen, we'd never see each other. We would literally never see each other. We would be like ships passing in the night. I've had to learn to have a normal, decent person schedule. I don't know why I said it that way. A normal person schedule. A decent, normal person schedule. That's what I meant to say. I've had to learn to function during the regular 9 to 5. Because otherwise I'd never see my husband. But when he goes out of town, do I go to sleep at a decent time? No. Do I wake up at a decent time? Maybe, if my alarm clock goes off. But it's going to be Saturday, so there won't be an alarm. It's going to be Sunday, there won't be an alarm. Will I stay up till 3 in the morning by accident? Probably. Will I eat dinner at 8:30 at night because I forgot to make food at the regular time? Probably. That's my life. That's the real me. That's who I am on the inside. So just so you all know, there's just a thin shell of order that has been hammered into place over this chaos that is me. And that's what you guys see. You see that thin shell of organization and you think, wow, Megan, she's got it all together. She knows what she's doing. I don't! I'm just good at looking like I do. I'm gonna go back to my regular voice because that was at least 15 minutes of being the octopus. This is our serious conversation voice. It is. We have a lot of serious conversations in that voice. So I have this is not me taking the piss or anything, but Taryn, do you wear your shoes in your house? Because we never wear our shoes in the house here. I'm wondering if this is like a cultural thing, but in Canada, nobody wears their shoes inside the house. Serious question. It is, though, I will say, I wanna veer into other territory for just 1 second. It is hard when you work from home to switch between work mode and home mode.
that is like a fair thing to point out, is that when you come home from work, you have that like transition of, I've come home from work, I'm off work now. And if you leave your house to go to work, you are leaving home mode and you're going into work mode, and there's a little switch that flips in your brain. When you work from home, you don't quite have that. And especially when you're your own boss, like me, you're never quite fully working and you're never quite fully relaxed. And so you have to kind of create that boundary for yourself. You have to kind of create a, this is my work time, this is my not work time, this is how I pass between the two of them. And having a barrier does help. Having a barrier between work and home and switching modes back and forth does help, because it creates that sort of barrier that other people have naturally by leaving the house or coming back into the house. Maybe do a lap around your house and then come back inside like, okay, time for this different job now. Absolutely. Pi is going to be so excited if he drop by the Wolf stream on Saturday. I'm going to be full chaos by then. My mood sleeps with the sun, so being awake late fucks me up. Listen, everybody has their own natural circadian rhythm. I'm a night person. I'm not a day person. Morning and me do not get along. Should I remind you to eat and hydrate? It wouldn't go amiss, Pi. Honestly, sometimes I need that. Speaking of out of town, my mom is taking me on a girls' trip after work today. We're going to go to Phoenix to visit my sister for a few days. That's awesome, Taryn. I hope you have a really fun time. What I want to do is get up early, play games until work, exercise during lunch, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, shower, and take my meds at 9 p.m. That's all I got. Hey, I mean, that sounds like a good schedule to me. See, I'm kind of the opposite. I try to get up as late as I can and still fit all my work in before what's a decent time, and then I take the last part of the day, so 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. I go to bed at 1 a.m., you guys. My normal bedtime is 1 a.m., just so you guys know. And I take that time between 9 and 1 is like me. That's my time. That was 17 minutes of octopus. It technically, the redeem says you get 5, so I was very generous. Games have to be in the space before work so that if I don't get up early, it doesn't mean I actually lost productivity time. That's fair. Wearing shoes in the house here is weird. Yeah, my family always wore shoes in the house when I was growing up too, and they would always laugh at me because I never did. But now I own a house, and I'm like, but if I wear the same shoes inside as outside, I'm just dragging dirt through the house. So why would I do that? I mean, I have slippers that I wear inside the house, but I don't wear them outside the house. If I have my shoes off and I'm trying to be productive, it doesn't work. But also just in general, I prefer to have my shoes on. Oh, interesting. But most people I know are the opposite. See, for me, it's 100%. No, I asked a question. You're not rambling. That's fine. For me, it's more of a, like, house cleaning thing. It's more work for me to keep the carpets clean if people are wearing their shoes on them versus if you take your shoes off when you come in the house. But I can understand the need to feel like you're, like, prepared to do something, if that makes sense. Like, I need to feel like I'm prepared to be doing something. See, that's one of the things from, like, working from home is, like, I don't have work clothes. I just wear my pajamas all day. I get a certain level of dressed, and I'm never more dressed than that. I can leave the house. I can leave the house in what I'm wearing right now. I wouldn't necessarily. I might actually, like, go put on jeans or something instead of just the, you know, ratty shorts that I'm wearing. But, like, I get to a certain level of prepared for the day, and that's it. That's my whole everything. So I can see how having, like, work clothes and relaxing clothes, or having a work wardrobe and a relaxing wardrobe can help with that, because you do have to create a barrier in some way. I get self-conscious about this because people give me a hard time. I absolutely am not trying to give you a hard time, just so you know. 100% just curiosity. Because I know, like, my family was always like, well, why aren't you wearing your shoes all day in the house? And I was like, I don't know, it's uncomfortable and it just feels weird. But I can 100%, when you say I need it to feel focused, that makes sense to me. Like, I could get behind understanding that. 100% not trying to judge, just curious. Because it's not how my brain works, but when you explain it, it totally makes sense. What if I just mixed and matched work and not work activities? See, you can try to do that, but then it's hard because, like, this is a thing that I struggle with. Because I take a break at lunchtime and do a little bit of crafting. That's like my sanity break time, which is fine. But then one of the things I struggle with is switching back into work mode, right? And so it's like, how long is it reasonable for that break to last? And how guilty am I going to feel if I run overtime with it? So there's a little bit of, like I said, when you work from home, you're never fully working and you're never fully relaxed. You're always kind of in mixed mode. But the more you let your brain mix those modes, the harder it is to get into one and out of the other, if that makes sense. We talk a lot in the world that we live in about multitasking, and multitasking is an important skill to have, but our brains don't like it. Our brains like to do one thing, and they like to do one thing because it's easier to do one thing and think about one thing all day than it is to switch modes. So I used to do my schedule such that I would do one project in the morning and one project in the afternoon. But I read about this, about how our brain doesn't actually like multitasking. It prefers block scheduling. And so I switched to on days and off days, right? So I do one project one day and one project another day, because then I'm thinking about the same project all day. And it actually really does improve your productivity. Your brain needs energy to make decisions, and so the easier you make the decisions for your brain, the more productive it can be. So there's also a certain amount of, like, I try to plan my meals ahead of time. I try to plan what I'm going to eat for the week, or at least for the next day, ahead of time, because that's a decision already made. Checkbox. I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat today. I already know what I'm going to eat today. I already know what I'm going to eat tomorrow. I already know what I'm going to eat on Friday. I already know what I'm going to eat on Saturday. Don't have to think about that anymore. Box ticked, done, decision made, not a question that I have to ask myself. The more you're able to do those little things and pre-plan ahead and make decisions, and that's kind of the good thing about having a schedule too, is you've already made that decision. You don't have to spend the energy or the time on it, and that's kind of how you increase your brain's efficiency. I know I probably sound like a crazy person right now, but there's science that says all these things. This isn't coming from me. This is coming from science. I don't think you were giving me a hard time, and I appreciate you saying so, but I could tell I was submitting rapid responses because I was nervous. No worries, Taryn. It's all good here. I just didn't want you to feel like you were taking up too much space in the conversation when I asked you a question and you just answered it honestly. Like, take up space, yo. I remember the whole thing I said about me being a bundle of bad habits and poor life choices. Yes. Listen, Sardinisms, I get it. I'm not trying to criticize or judge, just sharing things that I've learned over the years. I assure you, under this thin veneer of what looks like organization, I too roil with chaos. People who love me accept when I explain it. People who say they love me refuse to understand and tease even after I explain. But you'll never guess who in my life does that. Gee, let me think for a second. But also, if I'm asked to remove my shoes in someone else's house, I do. My bestie has that preference. And it challenges me at times, but I love her, so I choose discomfort. You know what you could... I mean, maybe you've thought of this before, Taryn. I don't know. You could buy a set of shoes that are just for the house. Like, you could have house shoes. You could have your going out shoes, and you could have your house shoes that are for when you're in the house and you want to focus. And then they'd be clean on the bottom, and you wouldn't have... Like, it wouldn't have that problem of bringing in outside dirt. You'd have your house shoes. I don't know if you've ever thought of that and if you've tried it and if it just doesn't work, but, like... distinctly different from like having slippers. You could just have a pair of house shoes that you wear when you're working in the house, and then you won't have the thing. And some people have a lot of shoes. My mother-in-law has like 20 million pairs of shoes. So it would be perfectly reasonable to have another pair of shoes that are like your house shoes. So does that mean I shouldn't be reading during downtime at work? I don't want to say no, because that doesn't make sense. You should use that time for something. If your job is such that you have time available to you and it doesn't detract from your work productivity to use that downtime for other things, to me it seems perfectly reasonable that you would use that time in some way, because otherwise you're not going to feel productive. You're just going to feel like you're wasting time. Is your brain going to be happy about that? Maybe. I don't know. I can't necessarily say. I don't know your life. It depends on the type of work that you do. If you're not doing something where you're consistently working for like a block of 3 hours or something, then the rules might be different for you. I am not a brain scientist. I just know what I've read on the internet. I do have slippers, but they make my feet sweaty, so I never want to wear them unless I'm cold. I also have a ton of shoes, but most of them go outside, but it won't bother me to have another pair. Yeah, just have some dedicated house shoes. I mean, again, I don't want anyone to think that I'm here telling you how to live your life, because I'm definitely not. I barely know how to live my own life. Just sharing things that I've read. I think the multitasking thing is more like, the way to think about it is every time you switch between a task where you're thinking about something and then switching into something else, your brain has to do work to do that. Now, reading might be different because it's more of a leisure activity than a work activity. So you're not necessarily thinking really hard about what you're doing when you're reading, because you're just reading. And then you stop reading and do a work task, and then you pick up the book again. The transition between those two things might be smoother than, say, I'm composing an email and I stop in the middle to do another work task, and then I go back to composing the email, and you have to switch your brain between the two. So when it's that kind of activity, I don't necessarily know if the ratio is the same. It's just something to keep in mind, is that like brain scientists have said that every time we switch thinking about something, it's work for our brain. I'll be honest, that doesn't stop me. Knowing that doesn't stop me. So I mean, you know. Just offering something that helps me since I also struggle with routine schedules. Hey, I appreciate that you shared that tidbit of information with us, Taryn, and I love to hear what works for other people. Because I, too, am always trying to learn better ways to have good habits and healthy habits and improve my productivity. Because y'all might think, Megan, she doesn't need to improve her productivity. She's got a lot of it. I do, but also I wouldn't mind having some extra me time in my life, because I say, oh, I try to stop working by 9:30 at night and have time for myself, but then that doesn't always happen, so it doesn't always work out that way. Being snarky at myself because my therapist just pointed out to me 2 hours ago what I've been doing isn't working. Well, first of all, sardonisms, be kind to yourself, because you're precious. And if you were telling me stuff about my bad habits, you would be nice to me. So you should also be nice to you, because you deserve to be nice to yourself and have yourself be nice to. What a weird sentence. But also, I get it. I do that to myself too. The number of times I say in my own brain, "you dumb bitch," is a lot. That's basically why it's my catchphrase. But But yeah, be kind to yourself. You're not going to change overnight as well. Wanting to change and knowing that you need to change are the first steps, but keep in mind that it's not going to be different overnight. It's a process. We all learn. It might be too long, Taryn. You might need to cut it down. If you tried it twice and it didn't go through, just try cutting it down into 2. But yeah, it's a process. We're all learning. We're all getting there. And as long as you're self-aware, which it sounds like you are, of the things that you need and want to change in your life, you will get there. You will figure it out. And schedules and routines are hard. Like, it's easy to talk about. It's easy to say, try to do the same thing at the same time every day. But it can be really hard. Look at me. I should be producing right now, and I'm not, speaking of schedules and routines. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a learning process. Give yourself the time and the grace that you need to get to where you're going. Because as long as you're trying, you'll get there. Pie, if you're listening, Ghost Pepper says, hi, and I will take a drink of water. So you've successfully hydrated Ghost Pepper. Now, I don't know if I did the hydrate that Pie gave me, so I'm going to double hydrate right now. I was being silly and said, what does sardonism's therapist know, sarcastically? I know, right? Oh my goodness. Listen, therapy is really, really good, but we also have to be good to ourselves even when our therapist isn't around. Just saying. What am I doing? Right. What activity do we want to do today? I don't think we sat at the desk at all yesterday. So we can sit at the desk and we can do some gaming. And we can... You know what? I want to try... I want to try one of this guy's other skins. I want to try his onion skin. Do you want the purple onion or the orange onion? I feel like that's really close to the skin he already has, so maybe we'll try the purple one. So cute. Too cute. Alright. And what background do we want to have? Kind of looks like a castle in the background, not gonna lie. Alright, we're all set. I just gotta open... It's gonna freeze for a second because I gotta open my documentation. You can tell I was all over the place this morning because nothing is ready to go. Alright, and we are on Fate of a Warrior, which is the final book in the Aruvalia Chronicles. Titles for Frozen Within a Scream are Blood of Close Kin, Whispers from the Soul, and Fate of a Warrior. Which is what we're working on today. And I'm actually gonna need... I've done the thing that I do sometimes that annoys me, but I still do it, where I've pulled dialogue from a previous scene, which means I need to go back and check what I changed in that scene so that the dialogue matches, because otherwise I will kick myself for not having done that. All right. I'm in a spot where I need to just do the things that we keep going over in therapy, so the appointments almost feel pointless. Listen though, change is hard, and I'm someone who is naturally resistant to change. It's funny because I just started playing Boyfriend Dungeon again, and the first fear that in the first dungeon for that game is fear of change, and I'm like, stop calling me out, because I like when things are comfortable and familiar and feel the same every day, and I get very deeply uncomfortable and anxious when I have to do something new or something different. And this is something that I've learned about myself slowly over time, and learned slowly over time that it has a lot to do with how I was raised in the environment I grew up in, and the fact that I never really got that sense of adventure that kids are supposed to have because of the environment I grew up in, and retroactively it kind of sucks. But if you're like that, if you're a person who's very comfortable with the familiar and the way things are, change is very difficult. And it's something that you sometimes have to work yourself up to, and you have to become a little bit comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to make a change. I watched a show once with Ghost Pepper that was about fear of roller coasters. I know this sounds like a wild ride to get to change, but it was a therapist who was helping people learn how to get over their fear of roller coasters. And the first thing he said to them was, when you approach getting on a roller coaster, when you get in line to get on a roller coaster, you're going to feel anxious about what's coming. You're going to feel afraid of what you're about to experience. And the first step towards getting over that is to sit with that fear, is to sit with that anxiety and accept what it feels like, and accept that you're uncomfortable, and to sort of acknowledge that emotion and become comfortable with that emotion. And so that is something that has always stuck with me a lot in my adult life, is that I know that I'm afraid of change, and I'm afraid of making big decisions, and those things are difficult for me. And when I encounter those things, instead of treating them like a wall, which is how they often feel when I start out approaching them, I try to accept that the first step is to accept that I feel a certain way about a certain thing, that I'm unhappy, or that I'm anxious, or that I'm nervous, or whatever. And I sort of acknowledge that emotion and then put it beside me so that it's no longer in front of me. I take that emotion where it stands in front of me and I put it beside me. I'm going to pull that emotion with me throughout the process that I'm going through. I can't get rid of it. It's going to be there the whole time. But if I keep it beside me, it's not in front of me. It's moving with me, but it's not blocking me. So for me, the first step is always sort of building myself up to a point where I can accept, okay, I'm not going to like this, but I'm still going to do it. I don't know if that helps anybody to hear that. I don't know if that technique. I'm not a therapist, obviously. This is just something that I picked up for myself. But for me, it has helped me over time to acknowledge how I feel and try to move through it, because I know that it's always the first obstacle I'm going to encounter. Not that anyone here would do anything so awkward, but please don't shop for a support agent. If you have a tech support case open, please don't call back and start asking for a new person to work on it. Oh no! Things like that happened when I worked at a service desk. Did you hear the part about the anxiety and the roller coasters? Because I'll repeat it if I need to. But first I'm going to take a quick break because we're going to get set up for what did you hear, Sardonisms? Let me know what the last thing, then what was the first thing you heard when you came back, and I'll try to repeat it. Maybe he just didn't like working with that person, but that's who's working on it. Yeah, basically, I don't know about you, but as someone who fears change, it takes some time to work up, like, having self-awareness of the fact that you need to change something is the first step, obviously, but that doesn't necessarily make it easy. In the case is half an hour old. He doesn't know yet if he likes working with that person. Fair, I don't know. I don't know why people do the weird shit they do. I'm with you. I used to work at a help desk. I'm on your side. Shit like that happened all the time when I worked for a help desk. you would open you would open a person's file and you'd be like, oh, so and so's working on it, and people would flat out tell us, I don't want to work with that person, and it's like, well, they're the one working on it, so I don't know what you want me to tell you. Europeans were never subtle. Anyway, what I was basically saying is I am a person who fears change, and so I always know that change to my routine or something that's new or different is going to make me anxious. And the short version is I watched a show about getting used to riding roller coasters when you're afraid of them, and the first thing that the guy told them was essentially to sit with that emotion and to get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable, essentially, to sort of acknowledge that emotion and sort of be okay with the fact that it exists, and then to move ahead knowing that you're going to feel that way. So sometimes just acknowledging I have to do something different and I'm not happy about it or whatever can sometimes help you continue to go through with it instead of blocking you from doing it. I'm going to go take a quick break. We're going to come back and I'm going to stare intensely at my screen as I begin edits on the final book of the Aruvalia Chronicles with y'all. hello. No, a stomachache sardinism's why. What happened? Thank you. Right, how's it going? I heard you found a castle. That's in Utah. Can we take it out of Utah? Can we put it on an island in the Pacific? I don't know. I don't know what that no was. But, okay. Okay. I'm assuming we can't put it on an island in the Pacific. Sag. Alright. Let's get the productivities going. It has an honest-to-God working replica of the original Tiki Room from Disney in it. Damn! But we can't get it out of Utah? Brain's a little bit with it today. Alright, first let's make sure the dialogue matches. Just wrote a bunch of words and then deleted half of them. No, I don't like surprise digestive system fuckery. It sucks. I hope your stomach settles down. Part of the charm is the 152 acres of land. Can we just like separate them from the land and lift them into the sky? I hear Rai-Rai's next no being typed. None of us are Magneto. None of us can do that. We could declare ourselves a sovereign nation, but the FBI doesn't like that. Fair. As long as we don't practice polygamy, claim we speak to God, or stockpile explosive, would probably be fine. I mean, I don't feel like that's what our intentions would be. Certainly not talking to God or stockpiling explosives. Ooh, of the thing I sent you yesterday? The drawn one or the written one? Ooh, I hope you're enjoying. Pi, did you hear that Ghost hydrated when we texted him? Name a province bordering Saskatchewan? I think Alberta? I think Alberta... Yeah, Alberta. One. A two. A three. A four. I know there's more than four there, but I'll do the rest later, Pi. I wanted to see if you could blindly guess the answer to a case I have. Oh, nice. Cool. I did have to learn all the provinces when I did my citizenship test. I do get Saskatchewan a little bit mixed up where it is, but I was pretty sure it was BC and then Alberta and then Saskatchewan. The delicious meats has arrived. Welcome in. How's it going? Welcome in, Raiders. We are in the middle of our first productivity sprint, so I might be a little quiet. But let us know how it's going and what you were up to today. Got a raid and run, got a stretch. No worries, delicious meats. It's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. Proto, how's it going? Very productive, caught up on organizing lore documents. Heck yeah, you gotta do that. I try to do that in between every book, but sometimes it's hard. That was 5 hydrates. I did some weird descriptive things with this scene, not gonna lie. I typed the long fingers attached to her hands. I would hope that they were attached to her hands. Is this for your driver's license, Protomat? 98% is pretty good. Taking 4 of them today? Heck yeah! When do you take the actual test? I assume soon if you're practicing so hard. I think I have 3 more. And that should conclude the hydrates. Oh, probably a month. That's good. Plenty of time to get it all to stick in your head. I did that when I did my citizenship test for Canada. They have, like, websites where you can do practice tests, and I did a whole bunch of them. Pause the timer so it doesn't switch over while I finish this little bit here. Perfect. I don't need this anymore because I only had to pull a little bit of dialogue out of it, thankfully. There's a lot of stuff. I will have to do that for here. Some of these questions are just mind-melting. I can imagine, and when you're trying to, like, hold something in your head because you know you're going to be asked about it, that just makes it even more pressure. The number of times that I've been in, like, a trivia situation or, like, a situation where I feel like I actually have to know something for some reason, and I know a thing, and somebody asks me about it, and I just freeze, like, is a lot. There's always a moment where I'm like, wait, I know things. Don't I? I know this. right into the wall when it came to doing the sequels and was forgetting stuff. Now I can actually remember who did what. Yes, that's why I keep my documents as well. I have big outline documents. I don't know if Delicious Meats is still here, because they said they had to run, but I do the same thing. I have like a document for each of my series, and I have the people, the places, and a list of what happened in each of my chapters, just so that if I have to find something really quickly, I know where it is. Because I was doing the same thing where, like, I would write something and I would be like, wait, did this already happen? Who did this? Where did they go? And so now I can just go back and sort of quick reference, and I'm like, oh, in this chapter, so-and-so did this thing, and that's what happened, and then I can keep it accurate between drafts. It's really hard to keep track of everything that happens in the series. Like, really hard if you don't have a list somewhere. So I'm glad you got it. Heck yeah, still here. Glad you got your stuff organized. I try to also, gotta save alert from Pi. Everybody save your work. Don't lose your progress. Save your work. I try to go back in between drafts as well, because my outline, I don't always follow it. So sometimes I need to go back and update my outline in between drafts so that it actually matches what I wrote instead of what I originally planned to wrote, which my characters inevitably are like, I don't want to do that. Let's veer this way. Oh my goodness. Wanted to see if you could blindly guess the answer to the case I have, and you did. Heck yeah, I remembered where Saskatchewan is, mostly. I mostly remembered. Bigfoot Tana. Oh my goodness. Right, if you're still working, what you up to today? Are you editing videos? Is it video editing day, or is Tuesday video editing day? What's up for today? How are you? Okay. I think I caught up on chat. I think I caught up on everything that happened. That's alright, Blur. If you are in the zone, you gotta stay in the zone. That is why I keep all of the timers actually muted. The only thing to interrupt you on the stream is my voice. But if you're in the zone and you want to stay there, feel free. Still not tired of telling this story. I have a document from one of my handful of rough drafts called What Are Outlines? We Get 10 of Those Right. I mean, you can get as many as you want. I'm now driving 3 kids to and from school by myself. Nice. I'm gonna take a quick break. Sorry, my brain forward ever so slightly there. I was like, did I catch up on all the hydrates? Yes. Okay. I think I'm good. I think I got everything. Unless I miscounted. No, I got it. Good. We're good. We're online. It's from about 80% through that rough draft. I had to make a lot of changes to my outline. Listen, I got sick of going back and changing things like every chapter, so now I just make a list and I change it all during the editing. My first drafts are highly inconsistent. I write new chapters based on things that haven't actually happened yet that I'm planning on fixing in the future. It's a whole mood. This is why you've got to find the process that works the best for you. For me, I like the efficiency of just doing one massive editing draft, but I edit everything at one time, which is a lot. I do a lot in my editing. It's kind of actually mind-numbing. I don't recommend doing it the way I do it, but it works for me. I'm gonna take that quick break. I gotta run to the washroom. I'm gonna pause the timer. While I'm gone, we'll come back and we'll change our position and our spirit and all that, and then we will do more productivity. baby. Janine, hello. How's it going? Blur says, got the editing done. Now I need to do the second part and one small thing that I wanted to add, which means back to arting. Heck yeah! I should edit something. I've gotten conflicting opinions on what kind of edits I need for short stories in the past. It's very frustrating. I don't know if my edits will make things better or worse. When you say that you've gotten, like, conflicting opinions, do you mean from beta readers or just general opinions on, like, how editing works? Beta readers can be very hard to find. It is true. I have a small and dedicated team that I have trained. So there are basically two types of edits. There's line editing, which is basically making sure that everything sounds good, making sure that you've used the right words, making sure that you're doing grammar and all that. That's the mechanical stuff. And then there's plot editing, which focuses on, the inner workings of the story and making sure whether or not your story is doing everything that you want it to do in the most effective way possible. Technically, everything needs both. Also, Protomat would like you all to get snacks. Snacks for the chat. Snacks for all of you. Treat yourself to snacks. Please snack responsibly. Or not, according to your desires. I don't really know how to edit. But I mean, what changes need made? This is really hard. I have some blog posts about this over at megancutler.net if you click on the editing section of the tag cloud. Without actually looking at something in front of you, it's hard to, like, tell people what needs to be edited. So I can really only sort of give a very vague answer to this, which is only going to be marginally helpful, and I apologize for that. First thing to do is to read it out loud. Does it sound good when it strikes your ear? Does it feel like it flows? It should almost feel like a letter or a conversation. Does it flow naturally? Is it doing everything you want it to do when you hear it to your ears out loud? You should always at some point read your drafts out loud and hear how they sound, or have an AI read it for you, just because then you can hear how it sounds. So that's one thing that's really important when editing is, does it sound good? Are the words the right words? Is the grammar the correct grammar? Is it doing the things that you want it to do? Boyfriend tried to get me to line edit a story that wasn't plot edited yet. People do their edits in different ways. I do it all at once. I change my plot, I change my lines, I do everything all in one go. I don't necessarily recommend doing it that way, but it works for me. You can do them in any order you want. Theoretically, a plot edit is going to get everything in there first, so that you know that you're line editing the right thing, but you can do it in as many passes as you want. Some people edit backwards. I always edit in chronological order. Basically, the right way to edit is the same as the right way to write. Just whatever works for you, whatever gets you through it, from the beginning to the end. Plot editing is hard to discuss without seeing it, because all I can really say is every scene, every paragraph, every sentence should further the plot in some way. Whether that's characterization, setting the tone, moving the plot forward. But how do you quantify that? How do you learn to quantify that? Talking about editing is really hard because it's hard to give individual advice. I can only give really vague and nebulous advice. So I understand that this probably isn't helping. It feels like an accident that I ever finished anything. Listen, finishing is hard. And then once you've finished something, knowing what to do with it afterwards is hard too. I always wait in between editing my first draft and editing it into my next draft. I always wait at least a couple of months, sometimes up to a year. Delicious Meats, thank you so much for the follow. Also, I didn't get a chance to ask, what kind of stuff do you write? I always just sort of put everything on the shelf for a couple of months to a year with my bigger stuff, because you want to look at it with fresh eyes. You want to be able to read it as if it's new again, and if you've just finished writing something, it's often hard to tell what you actually need to do with it next. So letting it stew in its own juices for a while is always a good idea. Do a lot of stuff? Heck yeah! You feel free to tell us what type of stuff you're working on if you want. No pressure. Nobody has to share anything they don't want to. I forgot to put the camera back down after I took off the octopus hat. That's why there's all that space above my head. Always happy to hear about other people's projects, but no pressure. If it is a secret. Got a busy year this year. I've got 3 different books going out for 3 different pubs. Heck yeah, that's awesome! I'm so happy for you. And a 4th series started. Hell yeah! Sounds like you are trucking along, my friends. I do all of my own, so I publish all of my own stuff, so I do all my own formatting. I don't do all of my covers. I do have a cover artist that I work with for my big stuff, like Aruvalia Chronicles. You can see some of those down below. Molly did the covers for Aruvalia Chronicles and Celestial Serenade and Dreamers Do Lie. And then I did the covers for Eternity's Empire and Everyone's Child. I haven't added the Everyone's Child covers to the downstairs. I have to do that, to put those in the About section, now that I've fixed them. Just had my first book hit Amazon, and my other stuff is on Royal Road. Heck yeah, I haven't heard of Royal Road. I'll have to look it up. Generally, it starts out as a serial, and then it moves to Amazon after. Oh, nice! I've never been able to really do serials. But that sounds super cool. I don't write short. I try, and then it doesn't happen. Yesterday, all of my chat was sassing me about this being the last Aruvalia Chronicles book, and they were like, is it really, though? Is it really? And I'm like, yes, it has to be. It's mandated. But Sardinisms, I'm sorry that it's not really... I'm probably not really helping Super a lot when it comes to editing, because it's a hard thing to talk about. If you have any more specific questions about things, feel free to shoot them at me on Discord, and I'll try my best to help. But unfortunately, it is the sort of thing where editing involves identifying the needs of every story, and the needs of every story are different, so every edit is going to be different. I won't believe you're leaving that series as long as you... I won't believe you're leaving that series as is until you stop writing forever. Listen! I have to move on. I can't... Listen, also, there's more than one Domarin, so the other ones need attention. It sounds weird to say that way. All of my books take place in a giant multiverse. I didn't plan this. I was told this by my characters. The keystone was slid into place, and it was revealed to me that all of my stories take place in a giant multiverse that's connected interdimensionally. And there's more than one Domarin, so the other ones want attention now. Domarin runs my life, basically. Wanted to vent to someone? You don't have to be sorry at all. Vent as much as you want. Editing is the hardest part of the process for me. Lots of people talk about writing being super hard and how writing is the hardest part, and that's never been true for me. Editing has always been the hardest part for me. I struggle to get into it. I struggle to stay focused on it. I've had to do a lot of self-bribery to get to a point where I could even get through editing. So definitely never apologize for needing to rant about editing in my presence because it's hard. It's the hardest part. And it's hard to learn how to do it. It's one of those things where it's easier if you have someone to guide you through it, but usually in order to find someone to guide you through it, you have to pay them to do it. Because it's a very time-consuming process. And I do offer, this is not me selling to anyone, I do offer editing services. I do edit for other authors, but I do have to charge for it because it's a very time-consuming process. And I do it all by hand. I don't use any AI tools or anything. I do it line by line. And sometimes, depending on the amount of feedback that needs to be given, it's a very intense process. So 100% rant as much as you need to, vent as much as you need to, because it's hard. And I spent many years being clueless about editing before I figured it out. And it was a very, again, trial and error process. And I abandoned a lot of first drafts to the pile before I figured out how to edit. Anything I write that does not have specific rules that preclude it from coexisting with my other stories, it's all taking place in the same world. That's cool! See, I think that's super cool. I basically needed to help edit someone else's book in order to learn. Yeah, that can definitely help. Working with other people can definitely help. I sometimes use non-generative AI tools to assist with line copy editing. And that's fine too. There are tools out there like Pro Writing Aid and Grammarly and that kind of stuff that are designed to help with edits. I don't use them when I edit for other people though. I do it all by hand. Can't wait for D&D tonight. Heck yeah, Proto. I heard that there are things a-happening. You're getting on another train! But does Willow work on it? Does Willow work on that train, though? Is it gonna be as cool if she's not there? I gotta focus now, but I'll catch up on chat when I can. Gotta work on the train, you guys. I don't think it will be as fun without her. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys. Willow is so opposite me in every way. And she's like, yeah, snakes just bite you, it's fine. That is not me. That is not the life I live. So it's nice to be that person. Even just pretend. Oops, that's not a word. Way late to the convo, but I put together a group of alpha readers who are helping me with plot editing. Heck yeah! That's how I used to do it back before I had a firmer grasp of what I was doing. Now I just kind of know what to do it because I've done it so many times, but the first couple times it's always really hard. Pie, you did get first. Pie, you did get first. Kiddo is starting kinder this fall, and maybe by the time I'm 40, I'll finish the series. Taryn, you will get there. You won't get to 40 sardonisms? It's not that bad. I'll be 40 in a month. Oh! I read your comment so much later than the other comment, and I completely forgot that that's what it was in reference to. You'll finish a series. This is what happens when I'm so focused on one thing that I forget to reach it. You'll get there. I'm not gonna finish the Aruvalia Chronicles before I'm 40. Okay. I think I've got 4 pages left. Perfect. To get through. Definitely had some reworking to do at a few points in these scenes, but they're coming along. Let's do a stretch! Oh my goodness. And save your work, everybody. Hit that save button. Honestly, just on the topic of finishing things, when I first started doing this full-time, when I first started writing full-time, it was 2012, I think. Roughly 2012. Might have been 2011. I do everything by school years, so I might be off by half a year. We had just moved to Quebec, so I had just quit working full-time, and I couldn't really find a job because we were living in the French part of Quebec, and I don't really speak much French. If any of you have heard me try to speak French, you know that that's true. So I tried to get into working full-time, and it was very hard. I couldn't seem to get a schedule going. I couldn't seem to make any progress. I was finishing the first couple books in the Celestial Serenade, and I decided to go back and rewrite Island of Lost Forevers, which was the first book I ever published, which I had co-written with a friend, and it was awful. The first draft was awful. It should be burned. I went back and rewrote it. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to publish. I had no idea how to edit. I barely knew how to write, I think. And I was working my way through some earlier novels. I was rewriting some earlier novels that I had written and abandoned before editing. Because I wanted to write the Aruvalia Chronicles. The thing that I most wanted to write at that time was the Aruvalia Chronicles. It had come into my head in 2011 was the first time I wrote an outline for it. And I desperately wanted to work on this series that I'm working on right now. But I didn't feel like I could do it. I didn't feel like I had the skill or ability to put together that complex of a storyline. And so I wanted to finish other things first so that I could start on the Aruvalia Chronicles and actually do justice to what I wanted to do. So I had gone back into my archives of things that I had kind of put aside because I didn't really know what to do with them. And that was sort of around the time that I discovered how to actually edit my work. First, I did a lot of rewriting, was what I did first. And then I sort of, once I had rewritten a couple of things, I sort of went through and figured out how edits actually work. And then in 2014, I published my first novel, Island of Lost Forevers, on Amazon. And my strategy was just hit the publish button so that you can't chicken out and figure everything else out later. And here I am. Now, I started writing the Aruvalia Chronicles in 2019. I rewrote the Dream Things True duology, and I wrote the Celestial Serenade first as practice. I shouldn't call them practice novels. I mean, they're full-fledged projects, but to get my skills developed, I wrote them. And I started writing the Aruvalia Chronicles in 2019, just before we moved into this house. And I will not finish editing the final book before I turn 40 in less than a month. Peter's here, and on a 7C stream streak. Peter, hello. Let's do all the fun things. How's it going, my friend? How you feeling? We're talking about turning 40, which I'm doing in less than a month. Laugh so we don't cry. So Sleepy went for a big long walk. I hope it was a good walk. I don't know if that speech was in any way inspiring to y'all, but it is the gospel truth. I looking back over my life, I wish I had figured out how to actually like do the creative process a lot earlier than I actually did. I feel like if I could go back and do it over with the knowledge I have now, I would write so many more things, and I would be so much further in the process than I am now. But unfortunately, we don't get to go back and redo. We don't get a redo button. So I'm just kind of trucking along, accepting that I got into it slowly, and I'll get there eventually, maybe. All the besties were there, and it was amazing. We played some blather round after dinner. I came back after dinner, and we played some blather round, which I'm sometimes very good at and sometimes very bad at, as that night illustrated. What if you regenerate and the next incarnation of Megan learns the thing? Do I get to keep all of the knowledge of previous Megan? Do I get to be Ginger? These are the important questions. I'm gonna take a quick pause, and I'm gonna go use the restroom and reheat my coffee, and when I get back, I might speed up the break portion to get on to the next round of edits, possibly, because I'm running a bit late today. But we are gonna do one last final sprint of 30 minutes before we wrap up. You're just like the Doctor, but you're the next version of Megan. I have mixed feelings about that, because the Doctor doesn't really get to control what he becomes in the next incarnation, and he doesn't always like the same things. So I feel like I won't get to finish all of my stories, which would make me sad. I'm putting way too much thought into this question. I'll be right back. Being ginger is a lottery. Regeneration is weird. You never know what you get. Sometimes you look like David Tennant. Sometimes you look like Matt Smith. I wouldn't be opposed to looking like David Tennant. Apparently every time he regenerates, he breaks the rules. So, you know, that would be fine. That would be fine. I would also not be opposed to looking like David Tennant. Women seem to like him. I mean, he's a sweetie. Although, I can't think of the new doctor's name, but he's cute too. Not gonna lie. I wouldn't mind looking like him. I feel bad because I can't remember his name, but I never did go back to watching the series after the specials were so bad. So I know almost nothing about him. Bard, I love you too! You know I'd be lurking. Wanted to make it clear that there are so many love rays coming your way from here. Bard, I appreciate that. There are so many love rays coming back to you. I hope you're having a good day. That's right. Yes. Pronounced Shooty Gatwa. You did tell me that before. He's a cutie too. I'm never opposed to having love rays. Ghost Pepper's going away tomorrow, so I'm gonna be sad and lonely and off leash. There won't be anyone keeping my schedule from going insane. I'm doing good, Peter! It's Wednesday, my legs hurt. I started exercising. It sounds so silly. I was like, I can't fit a regular exercise routine into my life, so I'm just gonna walk up and down the stairs for 5 minutes. I'm gonna set a timer, and I'll walk up and down the stairs for 5 minutes. I'm gonna do that twice a day, and it'll be a little light exercise. My legs hate me. They're ready to start a revolution. Last night, was shuffling around like a penguin, because my legs are like, screw you, bitch. There was a question about how many regenerations he has had, and it wrecked me. Wolf was talking about that. We were talking about that on Wolf's stream. Because Wolf was mad that apparently they've given the Doctor extra regenerations. But I also feel like every time David Tennant's Doctor regenerates, it breaks the rules somehow. There's like 2 David Tennants running around out there. One of them's a Time Lord. And then he also sideways regenerated into the new guy? I don't understand how it works. Feral Megan will probably be on Wolf's stream on Saturday. I will probably be feral by then. Getting off work in a little over half an hour and have to go straight to the doctor. Oh no! Is it a planned doctor's appointment or like an emergency one? I want stairs so I can do that. Your leggies will hate you, Taryn. My leggies hate me right now. How many incarnations and how many regeneration? Yeah, but does the other... How... Did it reset? When he's sideways regenerated, did it reset his regenerations? How does this work? They were never going to let the show end, so they had to break the limit. Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about. The core of Gallifrey recharged the TARDIS with basically unlimited ones. I feel like the world can always use more David Tennant. I mean, I'm not complaining about there being more David Tennants. I just can't help but notice that he gets the rules bent for him a lot. It's planned. Well, at least it's pre-planned, Bard. I hope it goes well. I stopped keeping up during Moffat's run. Yeah, we left shortly after. We stopped watching the show shortly after Matt Smith left. The show just didn't feel like it was... I've said this before, but it felt like the show wasn't going anywhere. The showrunner had drunk his own Kool-Aid too much, and just... It was clear to us that the plot was never going to go anywhere, so we stopped watching it. It's about the junk that sent me to the ER a couple of weeks ago. Do they think they have answers for you now, Bard? That's absolutely 0.000% to do with regeneration limits. The Time Lords gave the Doctor more regeneration cycles. We don't know how many. I see. As many as the show is long. I bet anything for David Tennant. I mean, I'm in that boat with you, Bard. From how I understood it, the energy in the time core of the TARDIS is transferred to the Doctor. That sounds like something they would have said in the show. Me rereading that thing I wrote in a 3-day sprint, jumping straight to the breakdown because I love angst. Are you still working your way to total completion, Sardonisms? Man, I should just ask who everyone's favorite Doctor is so that there can be a total fight in the chat. Not who the best is, because then we really will have a fight, but just who is your favorite? Who is your favorite? Mine's David Tennant. In case you didn't know. In case you didn't notice. In case it was hard to tell. Mine's David Tennant. Does the toaster monkey play games with you? Okay. That's stupidly adorable. I just want that to be a thing. Akula? Who's that? Dr. Akula? Oh, that was Pi. I thought that was Peter. I was like, what's this deep Doctor Who lore that I don't know? It was Pi. It was Pi trolling me. They have not yet begun to seek answers. Hopefully they will be seeking answers during this appointment, but most likely they're going to say we're scheduling tests for future dates. Well, couldn't that just be a phone call? John Pertwee? Who was he? What number was he? Working your way to total completion, Sardonisms. Yesterday you said you were working to total completion. I don't have one. I have many. Fair. My favorite is David Tennant because I haven't seen the show, but I love him. Also fair. Who's your favorite companion? I really liked Clara, even though I don't think I watched her full run. Is Dracula your favorite companion bard? Actually, I shouldn't say Clara, I should say Donna, because the Dr. Donna was my favorite. That was my favorite combo. So, I think of them as one entity, but the Dr. Donna was my favorite. But I also really liked Clara. He was the third Doctor. I'm not as familiar with him. Haven't seen the last season, so I don't... Oh, Dracula. Listen, Pi. A troll is a troll. I'm gonna get ready for the final sprint. Donna was a great character, but Catherine Tate makes me want to shoot nails into everyone's eyes. I actually like Catherine Tate. I like her humor, so... Sorry, Peter. You would think, but based on my experience with health junk, they're gonna ask me what's wrong and then tell me they'll have to schedule tests. Again, I feel like so many things that they want you to go into the office for could be just done over the phone. I'm gonna pause my timer actually for 1 second. I actually called them the one time and I was like, I need to ask my doctor a question. It's a 5-second question. Can I just tell you what the question is and you call me back? And they were like, I'm not bothered. Am I bothered? I'm not bothered. I was like, I need to know whether or not she wants to monitor my blood work because my endocrinologist is breaking up with me and doesn't want to monitor it anymore. So I left a very precise and exact message, and then they called me back and they were like, yeah, she'll do that. Because I was like, I am not scheduling an appointment and clearing 2 hours out of my life to drive across town and sit in a doctor's office and ask a yes or no question. Have 30 minutes to go back to school. Protomat, thank you for hanging out. Good luck with the rest of your day. Good luck with your studying. Total completion has been suspended until I'm back at my computer because I need to cut and paste huge chunks of text. Why couldn't I say that? That's a pain. But I will get there. For now, I'm twerking a word here and there as I read. Nice! Sounds good. That's what editing really just is, honestly. You make me schedule an appointment if I have to fart. I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's kind of true. It wastes so much time for everybody. Doctors would be able to see more people if they didn't drag you into the office to tell you something they could tell you on the phone. It's like when you get blood work done and they call and say, can we make an appointment to discuss your blood work? Yeah, or we could just talk about it right now on the phone because you're calling me. when I eventually do the thing, I'm going to hand it over and say, I'm done with this. You can have the rest while making direct eye contact. You should, Bard. I already perceived it. It's fine. It's medical stuff doesn't really faze me. Las Patas de Wolverine. I'm sure I said that wrong. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. It took me a solid 60 seconds to read your name. Welcome in. Can I call you Wolverine? How are you? Thank you for the follow. Snacks for everyone. Snacks. Eat your snacks. Get your snacks and eat them. I still need to make that, like, rain snacks on the screen somehow. It means Wolverine's feet. Love it. I love it. Welcome in. I love a shower, but I couldn't eat a whole one. You save the leftovers for later. Gotta go finish up some work since I'm getting off early. My heart will still be here with all of you, but my eyes and ears will not. Bard, good luck at the doctor. Let us know how it goes. Take care of yourself. Thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna have so much to read at the end of this sprint. Honeysuckle. You're here to share the last 10 minutes with us. Plus however long it takes me to read chat. I will be around tomorrow as well, if you need a place to hang. It was a test of the emergency broadcast system. My apologies. I was not aware that was happening today. I'm gonna have an interesting story from Ghost when he gets home. It's always interesting when they do those tests at the school. That was my phone. To anyone who's like, holy shit, what was that? That was my phone. I apologize. That was a test of the BC emergency broadcast system. If I had known they were going to do that today, I would have put my phone in the other room, although then it would have continued to go off until I could run out there and get it. Excellente. I have reached the end of this scene. It's not doing what I want it to do. BCEBS SMS? I don't know what that means. I guess it is. It is a text. It does send me a text. It's the same sound. It's the same system that they use for Amber Alerts. This is only a test. No action is required. In an emergency, this message would tell you what to do to stay safe. This information could save your life. Does it not know who you are? I am its creator. Just upset this thing a lot. Ugh. I searched for a term that I use a lot, and it was like, slow. What if it wore a particular jacket when I'm working? Switch jackets means off time. That's a great idea! Especially if you like me. I like to have sweaters. I like to have a sweater. Please do not read this sign. Thank you. Okay. I've named both of these chapters today. Thank you. Come again. All right. All right. What do we got here? What's happening? I totally mean to brag, but I made chocolate chip cookies yesterday and they turned out delicious. Heck yeah. I've been meaning to get back into baking, but I'm also trying to eat like fewer snacks. So I'm like, my tentative plan is to get rid of all the snacks that we have in the house so I can make more healthy ones. But I'm still working on the get rid of all the other stuff in the house part. But I keep wanting to bake more. Because I actually do enjoy baking, but I just don't have time for it very often. I call my doctor and they'll be like, just go to the doc in the box. Do they mean like Google? My doc is actually good about that. He does follow-ups and 10-minute phone calls. That's the way that it should be, really. The This is the part of the conversation that Peter didn't want me to perceive, so I won't read it out loud. I'd very much not like to keep the bowl. I don't care about medical talk. I'm not gonna read it out loud. Guilt Trip Dom asking Sub, you know I love you, right? Sub says yes, so Dom says, why do you think I'd be happy to make you that miserable? Because Sub doesn't safe word and called yellow only when he was almost at red. He pushed himself too hard. Wolverine came, saw what we were talking about, and left. Maybe. Possibly. If you're still here, Wolverine, how are you? What you up to? I feel like you know that meme, why is it always you three? I feel like that's me, Bruce, and Joe, but Bard is hiding in the Chamber of Secrets, charming us all with their snake words. And pie. It's also always pie. Bard is very charming. Soggy Shower is a great band name. You know, when we get into our 70s and ages, when we hit our golden years, we can rename ourselves. Peter. I love you, Peter. I made the cookies yesterday because eggs were about to go bad. Oh, that's a great use of eggs that are about to go bad. I got way too excited about that. Gonna try another attempt at baking the big cheese I've never tried to do scones. That's one thing I've never tried to do. They seem really finicky. Cookies I've got down. I can do cookies. I can do Nanaimo bars. I can do fudge bars that are non-dairy. But scones is one I've never tried. I don't think you were there yet for the big cheese scone. I didn't want to make a small cheese scone, so I just mixed it all up and tried to bake it, but I put it in a baking dish so it didn't cook properly. I can imagine how that might have gone. Blur's still here. Blur has been through a lot with us, you guys. Honey Shuckle too. Appreciate you guys just chilling. This is fan fiction, but this character is so damn stubborn to a point of self-destructiveness. Gee, I don't know any character like that, glares at Domarin. In canon, he ignored his own hunger until it made him puke. Oh no! He's 1000% would have to be guilted and coaxed into safe wording. You gotta eat. Sweet boy, you gotta eat. Yeah, I've never tried scones. I've never tried pastries. Unless it's like pre-made pastries. But when I first started baking, I was really nervous about it because baking is a little bit less forgiving than cooking. And I know how to fix it if I screw something up while I'm cooking, but baking was a lot more like you have to have the knowledge base. But now that I love the way you put that sardonism, so perfect. I feel the same way about Domarin, my sweet grumpy elf son. Now that I've baked a lot, though, and I kind of understand the principles of, like... Because at first I was like, oh, I have to use margarine for everything because I can't use butter. But then I found a margarine that is, like, stick margarine, so it's more the consistency of butter, and it works better. So now that I know a little bit more about the science and how it works, I feel a lot more confident about swapping things out or fixing it if I make a mistake or just accepting that I cooked the Nanaimo bars for too long and my husband actually liked it better anyway because it was richer and more bitter and less sweet. So I keep meaning, I'm like, I'm going to bake something every month and then I just don't. Work done, teeth brushed, ass fat, ready to go to the gut doctor. Bard, I think you meant ass fabulous. Just putting that out there, because your ass is fabulous, regardless of its size, and it always will be. Good luck at the doctor. We love you. take care. Let us know how it goes. Baking is more an exact science, like you need to be more or less exact. Yeah. You can get less exact with it, but you kind of need to know. Yeah, it is big, but also fabulous. I'm just saying. Bart is juicy in the caboosey. I think is what she's saying. To use the phrasing that she coined herself, her very self. I got distracted. Yes, baking is a bit more exact, but once you learn how to do it, you can shift it about. And I do think it would be, instead of going to the store and trying to buy a couple of treats that I can actually eat that don't have dairy in them, I think it would be a lot easier if I had complete control over the ingredients and the amount of sugar and baked myself treats, but I just don't. I just don't. The number of times I'm like, I should do this, and then I just don't. Let's see who's streaming so we can do a raid. Feels right to leave on Big Juicy Badonki. Yes! Bard, good luck. Bread making is the weird middle ground where you can do rough estimates and until it's right as a guideline. Oh, we have a bread maker and I love it so much. Because once we figured out the exact amount of ingredients to put in there, we have all our ratios written down. We just turn on the cycle. We let it run. It cooks the bread to perfection. I love fresh bread. Have I mentioned that bread is my kryptonite? I love fresh bread so much. I just got done telling Ghost the other day that we need to get using our bread maker more again. We need to make that happen. Oh no, the person I want to raid might be wrapping up. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go? You know, I think we'll go somewhere that I don't go very often. I like to go to people who have lower viewer numbers, but I feel like we've rated a lot of these people recently. So what we might do is go to a slightly bigger channel, a channel that I really like lurking in, and don't get to raid very often. OOP Mary, I believe, is the proper name. Huge co-working stream, very chill, love to hang out there, don't get to raid very often. Fresh bed, bit of butter, chef's kiss. Hell yeah. I have to be very careful when I go to restaurants that just keep bringing you bread, because I will eat all the freaking bread. Mystery Mochi, hello! It's good to see you. We are wrapping up, but it's so nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. My sister gave me a loaf of bread for my birthday, and it was amazing. Oh, heck yeah. Head out to pick up my car from the mechanic. Have a good rest of your time zone. Taryn, have a great trip to Phoenix. Good luck with the car. Appreciate you. Glad to see you. A French person looks at Megan and is like, Lee, go fuck yourself. Probably. Bard is great. I'm not careful when going to those restaurants and I regret nothing. I mean, I'm careful because I want to eat all the other food too. I want to not just eat the bread. I want to eat all the food. But I do eat a significant amount of bread when I go there. Fresh bread is the best thing. If I could just have fresh baked bread every day, that would be my version of heaven. Blur, thank you for hanging out. Thank you to everyone who hung out. You guys are all amazing. I'm going to do the spiel now, where you can find me tomorrow morning right back here for one more stream, one more productivity stream of this week. We will be doing writing Sorry, frog in my throat. We will be doing writing tomorrow, more clicky clackies. And we will be working on finishing up Everyone's Child Book 5. I won't get it done on stream, but I will get it done in the afternoon. Greatly looking forward to that. Thursday night, if you head over to Wolf's channel, that'll be tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. I'll try to be on time this time. If you head over to Wolf's channel tomorrow night at 7:30 PST, him, myself, so it'll be Woof, me, Bard, and Carly are going to be playing MonsterCon, the brand new game from Beautiful Glitch. Love those games. If you haven't heard of Monster Prom, check it out. Beautiful Glitch is amazing. Everything they make is amazing. They've got a new game out, MonsterCon. It goes back to the dating sim style. There's some brand new sweet monster boops in there, and I'm already desperately in love with Nico, who I dressed up as pancakes and then ate the pancakes off him. Listen, it was great. So that's going to be happening tomorrow on It's Wolf's channel. We will be doing that, and then Saturday night, again at the usual time, 7:30 PST, I will be feral and on Wolf's channel for the usual. Ghost Pepper will have been gone for 3 days at that point, so who knows when I'll eat, who knows when I'll sleep, but I'll be there. I filled up on bread and sides when Logan messed up my steak twice, and it was absolutely worth it. I mean, as long as you got the experience you wanted, that's the most important thing. Can confirm fresh baked bread is just the best. 100%. Let's get the raid going. If you are looking for a chill place to hang out when I'm not around, this is definitely a good channel to go to. And there's a little kitty cam as well, which I can't do because Ghost is allergic to all the cute things. Please remember to take care of yourself. Eat, sleep, drink, get up, move around. Take care of this meat sack that you're driving through the world. It doesn't have a manual, but you gotta take care of it. Mystery Mochi, take care. I hope we see you again tomorrow. Thank you so much to everyone who hung out today. Thank you to the Delicious Meats for the follow. Or, well, yes, for the follow and the raid. And also, thank you, Wolverine's Feet. I hope we didn't scare you off instantaneously. You guys are amazing. Seriously, I'm so blessed to get to have you guys in my life, to get to spend this time having both serious and hilarious chats all in the same go while getting my work done. What else could I ask for? I'll see you all again soon. Please take care of yourselves, and I wish you all the productivity until we meet again.